during times like these, how would I invest $1,000? Let's look at some of the misconceptions, some of the mistakes I see a lot of people doing, and then obviously let's discuss how would I approach the entire topic. Let's take a look in today's video. Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. On my channel, it's about investing mostly cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, but we look at many other things as well. Every once in a while we discuss shares and stocks, we discuss gold, we discuss bonds, we discuss literally all the fun things out there. Now, I have to admit, we mostly talk about Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, but hey, there's so many things where you can put your money to, and we want to cover those things here. And today I want to answer a question that I think I get on a daily basis. And again, if you have any questions, you can just always let me know in the comments down below. Or yeah, if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can just reply and or leave a review and write your question there. We always read those, and then yeah, I can always reply, be it Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. We look through all those things and we kind of pull those questions together, also on YouTube, and then I try to reply. And one of those questions has always been, Julian, I don't have so much money yet to start out with. How would you invest $1,000, especially during this economic crisis? What are things where you put your money to? What would be the things you would stay away from? And I want to discuss a couple of the mistakes I see people doing, and then I obviously want to discuss the things that you could be doing right. Now, before we do this, one quick pitch I want to give you. If you own Bitcoins or many other cryptocurrencies, check out my company there. You can actually get cash flow from your cryptocurrencies, which is quite helpful because then you don't have to worry so much about buying and selling. You can actually just get cash flow out of the coins you already have. You can sign up for free, you can try it out. Everything is super transparent. We have the best rates in the industry. I can say this wholeheartedly because I'm quite convinced of that. And transparency is everything because, I mean, trust is good, but verifying everything is better, and we try to do this. So if you want to check this out, check out, and yeah, it would be awesome to welcome you as a user on our platform. But with this, let's dive into the video and let's discuss a couple of things. I want to do a quick share of the iPad so you kind of understand this a bit. One of my mentors very early on, and I kind of met this mentor when I was 20, met him at an airport in New York. He was a super successful businessman, and I was a student, a professional kite surfer, and he taught me a couple of very, very, very important things. And the first one, whenever it came to money, and it's going to be very relevant when we discuss this, is that there's 3 skills when it comes to money. The very first is you need to be really good at earning money, right? The second one is at some point you need to learn how to save money, because the problem is it's not so much about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep, right? Great. And then the last skill, that's kind of the holy grail, if you want to call it, it's sending your money to work. So it's basically investing or multiplying your money. Now here's the thing, and I mean this from I'm coming from a very good place here. If you're asking me to invest $1,000, right, and I'm assuming right now this is the key thing that I'm assuming, that you're really talking about that this is your entire liquid kind of funds that you would have to invest. So I'm not asking, so I'm assuming, we're going to do, if you want, right, let me know in the comments if that's interesting to you. We can do a series where we say, okay, this is how I would invest $1,000, this is how I would invest $10,000, $100,000, $1 million. We can even do 10 million. I don't have an idea about 100 million. I can ask some of my friends and mentors, if you're interested in this, how they invest 100 million. I don't have that much, but I can talk about 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, and 10 million. So these are the things that I could do. And every one of those amounts actually has different strategies. And if you're interested, just let me know in the comments. Happy to do a small little series, especially during times like these. Now, I'm assuming you have $1,000, and that's your entire liquid portfolio, right? It might be because you might be still very young. It might be that, I don't know, you had to pay off a lot of debt, or you just didn't save so much up, right? And that's the only thing you have. Now, I'm just going to tell you what my mentor in all of this always told me. And that is, Julian, before you don't manage, and for him it was always at least 100K per year, I would probably say today, because of inflation, and this is 14 years ago, right? I would probably say today, if you you probably need to get to 200K a year. Depends, right? It depends on where you are, depends on where you're living. Before you don't get to at least 100K per year in income, you really need to focus on this very first part here. And I mean this from a very, very, very good place. And the reason I'm saying this is, let's put away that the government is going to take care of you, right? I doubt that. So if you really want to kind of retire at some point, I think retiring with less than your entire asset, if you say, I don't know how much you need per month, right? But let's say you need 2 to 3K per month, and that's kind of the retirement amount. So we're talking about, I don't know, probably 25 to, let's say, 40K per year, right? Depends on where you're living, so we're talking US dollars. I mean, obviously, if you live in a more low-income country, this could be way enough, right? If you're living in some Asian countries, you don't need more than $10,000 a year. And then in some other places, you might need $50,000 to $60,000 a year. But if you're talking about this kind of money, you're not going to generate that kind of returns with less than $500,000 to $1 million in assets. So if we're shooting for $1 million in assets, and at the end you need to have this kind of target, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. I'm not saying impossible, just very difficult if your income is way lower than $100,000. Now, if you earn 25K per year, which is great income, don't get me wrong, right? So we're talking about 2,000 US a month. That's great, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get to this part where you can retire, and you can actually retire in a sense where you can keep your lifestyle. Because that's just what we're going to see. We're going to see a huge gap in between how much money you're making right now and how much money you actually need when you retire. So until you get to this stage, personally, I would only invest, right? I would only invest in things that will get your earning up, and preferably where you get your learning up. Remember this. With $1,000, that's great that you have this kind of money. But it's going to be very, very difficult to invest in something with reasonable risk and reasonable upside that's going to get you anywhere where you need to get to. So if I had $1,000 and that's all I had, I would probably invest in myself. I would get a new course. I would do any kind of thing that would teach me a new skill. I would either learn how to code, I would learn how to do better marketing, learn how to sell. Anything where I know over the next couple of months and years, I can just get my earnings up. And there will always be certain skills that you can learn that will get your earnings up by getting your learning up. Now here's the major thing. It's probably not going to be traditional education, right? It's probably not. And so I would probably invest $1,000 in myself. That's the very first one. So that would be the very first thing. So I would probably invest in myself. That's the very first thing. With $1,000, that's what I would be doing. Now, if you're sitting here and you're like, Julian, thanks so much, I hear this all the time, but I would love to invest in something else. Great. I would still follow the rule here. The rule here is you're probably not going to earn yourself, or you're going to invest yourself to riches with $1,000 starting capital. You're going to take a lot of risk. And with this risk, you're probably going to lose your money. So the main thing here is, how can you invest and still learn? So I would probably invest in Bitcoin. Why? Very simple. The odds of Bitcoin going up are quite good, especially during these times. You're probably not going to get the same kind of returns in stocks. You're probably not going to get the same kind of returns in real estate. Probably $1,000 is even difficult. Even gold, most of the other investments, you're probably not going to be able to actually get any kind of returns. But here is the more important part. First of all, Bitcoin has some really strong returns. But to me, it's about something else. It's about the learning aspect. Remember, it's about potentially earning, but learning. I guarantee you, getting into cryptocurrencies, getting into Bitcoin teaches you about money, teaches you about the financial system, teaches you about the economy, and. In a worst case, you might lose the $1,000. In the worst case, right? I don't think this will happen, but let's say Bitcoin goes to zero. You lost your $1,000, but you're going to learn so much about the entire thing. You understand decentralization, all the things we discuss here on the channel. So this is something that I really, 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 really encourage you to invest in, Not so much because I think that Bitcoin is definitely going to make you rich. Who knows, right? I don't know if Bitcoin's gonna go up or down. I hope it goes up. I invest in Bitcoin. I have a significant amount of my net worth in Bitcoin, but who knows? But what I know for sure, if you get into this and you kind of understand this, you will learn something. I promise you that. And that brings me actually to all the other investments. Now, I don't have a problem if you get into, I don't know, into stocks. I don't have a problem if you get into options. I don't care about all these highly risky things with $1,000. But what I really care is the learning aspect. So I don't have a problem if you get into, I don't know, technical analysis and you want to learn how to trade. At least you'll learn something, right? And you might learn that technical analysis doesn't work. You will realize that probably all the YouTubers out there is just pushing this because it's so great content and so many people fall for the trap. But you will learn, and at the end, like my mentor always taught me, he said, Julian, I lost, and I talk about this in my book, 25 Stories I Would Tell My Younger Self. I lost in a super short time frame all my money. That was $90,000 back then. Within 8 weeks, I lost so much money. It was all the money I had. And he always said, Julian, be happy that you lose $90,000 because that teaches you how to not lose $1 million. And he was so right. And it's the same thing here. I would encourage you to lose the $1,000, learn shitloads, because at least you're not losing the $10,000, the $100,000, or the $1 million, hopefully the same way. So that would be my major thing here, right? I know that most people, and most people on YouTube, and blah, 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 they teach you with $1,000 how to invest and how to multiply your money. I tell you, it's very unlikely that your $1,000 in an outside investment will get to significant amounts, because either you need to invest with very high leverage, with very high risk, and probably it's going to go the other way, or you make some money, just like most of the people in 2017 when they invest into all these shit coins, and then at the end they lost it all, and actually they have way less today, because they just never had the skills. So I would probably really focus my $1,000 here in the earning bucket, if you want to call it, and or in the earning and learning if you can. That's what I would do with $1,000. Now, obviously, with 10K, with 100K, with a million, with 10 million, with 100 million, the ball game looks completely different. And I'm happy to kind of discuss this in future videos. If you want to, just let me know, and then we can kind of discuss those things along the way. So this would be my suggestion on this. I would probably invest in myself, get a course, buy some books, get my sales skills up, get my coding skills up, get my designer skills up, get my marketing, online marketing, whatever you want to do. There's so many things that are well paid, and and shoot for the $100,000 a year. Shoot for $250,000. That's where I would try to get my own income capabilities, and from there it's going to be so much easier to do any kind of investing. And so that would be probably the strategy that I would follow in all this. And if you want to have some outside investments, then probably go for Bitcoin because of the learning aspect. Go into stocks because of the learning aspect, and so on. That's what I would really, really focus on with $1,000. Depending on if you're younger or older, that's probably where your most aspect is in there. Now, if you own Bitcoin or you own cryptocurrencies, check out my company, Cake. I'll post it in again. And then, yeah, I hope that gives you some kind of idea how to get cash flow from crypto. Would love to see you on there as a customer. And with this, I hope I'll see you at our next video. If you don't want to miss anything, depending on what channel you're on, if you're on Facebook, then yeah, click the follow button on the profile. On Twitter, the same story. LinkedIn, follow. On YouTube, click the bell icon, click the subscribe button. We'll also post a link down in the reminder. With this, I'll see you at the next video. Thank you so much. Yours truly, Julian. Stay safe. Bye-bye.